Hi, I'm Nancy Coleman, Dean of the Division of Continuing Education and University Extension, and I'm speaking to you today from the heart of Harvard Yard. Whenever I walk across these historic cobblestones, I'm always reminded that Harvard is more than just a name or an online class. Harvard is a real place with nearly 4 centuries of history, and it's a place built on the belief that knowledge has the power to change the world. At the Harvard Extension School, we bring that historic rigor to you wherever you are, wherever you call home. We know that choosing to continue your education is a significant investment, and you might be wondering if you can truly balance your professional life with the demands of a Harvard classroom. We're here to tell you that yes, you can, and more importantly, we're on your side to help you do it. Today, we're going to bridge the gap between this historic place and your own career goals by hearing from industry experts and staff who have really made this real place a home for our students like you. Let's get started. Join me on a walk to One Brattle Square. Hi everyone, I'm Nancy Coleman. Welcome back. I'm here in studio today with 3 incredible industry leaders. We have folks from Boston Children's Hospital, Hasbro, and Microsoft for a discussion that will help you start to bridge the gap between your aspirations and the current reality of the professional world. Let's dive in.
I'm Jonathan Levine, Senior Director of Organizational Development at Boston Children's Hospital.
Sherry Hurtubise. I'm a Global Director of Talent Acquisition for Early in Careers at Hasbro.
Soundar Srinivasan, I lead agentic automation for responsible AI governance at Microsoft.
Terrific. Thank all 3 of you for being here today. The first piece that I'd really like to start in on is your philosophy of leadership. I'd really love to understand how you think as leaders. And at the school, we really prepare people in mid and above careers as leaders. So it's important to understand that there's different perspectives to leadership, from individuals and also from companies. And you all lead in very different organizations. So I'd love to just start and get a sense for the types of global change that you're experiencing in your organization and how you think about leadership.
I think it's really important for every leader to have their own philosophy of leadership, and it emerges organically. So it's not like you can just take a course and then learn about what your philosophy is. It just emerges from your own experience. Leadership is what happens when the most senior person leaves the room. Are people a little hesitant? Do they step into the void? And so what matters to me personally is to prepare the people I'm leading for the day that I leave the room, and to empower them, to give them the limelight and the confidence to take their career as far as they want to go.
That's great. Thank you. Sherry, what's your perspective?
My personal philosophies, there's a couple that I anchor to. The first is my job is to set a North Star and make sure everybody's aligned to it. And so my job, once that's set and aligned as a leader, is really to remove the blockers, remove the boulders, to empower my team to be able to do their jobs and do it well, and give them the credit and the recognition for doing that, right? You got to celebrate the wins. To me, clarity is kindness, right? So the clearer I can be on expectations, the way that we could or should think about something, I don't want to be down in the weeds on their desk, right? I want to let them do what they do well, the way that they do it, but, making sure that they know what that expectation is and how I can support them to get it.
Yeah.
Very much similar. Like you as a leader are there for your team. It's not your success. It's not what you need to do. It's basically what the team needs you to do, right? And how do you step up and be that person that creates clarity, generates energy for your team, and then ultimately let them deliver the success that the company and the organization needs out of your team. And now it's more about like change management. Like with so much things happening around us. The pace of knowledge is accelerating. The things that people need to learn to stay on top of these technological advancements has never been greater, right? So how do you help people learn about these changes and navigate these changes, not from a place of fear or distrust, but embrace it as a source of new energy and new abilities?
Yeah, I love that. And, we hear about change management all the time as one of the key challenges that leaders face. And I want to pivot a little bit, but still stay on this human theme, is that with AI and other technologies, it's pretty easy for job candidates to craft a resume that exactly aligns to the job description that you might be putting out. As the three of you are recruiting talent and hiring new employees, is there a hidden talent or something human that jumps off the page, even in the midst of maybe something that is very tech generated? And Sherry, I'd love to start with you and see what you're seeing.
Yeah. For me, there's two things that are more kind of, one is an inherent skill that I think, you come with it or you don't, and that's curiosity, genuine curiosity, right? And saying like, I wonder why, or just being willing also to ask why something is the way it is. And I think that that curiosity is what's going to launch a company or talent or teams into a more open and innovative space to embrace technologies or embrace new ways of doing things, for an organization. So I think curiosity is one. And the other one is more, thinking about not coming in the door with the solution first. So that growth mindset, that learning mindset of saying, I am curious and I'm willing to unlearn the solution that I think I already know, are superpower skills that apply across every function at an organization.
Jonathan, what about you?
I think when I'm sitting opposite someone, one of the most important qualities for me is learning agility. So how have you really tried to understand the situation, tap into your curiosity, as Sherry said, to really learn a topic, an area, something that's evolving that you didn't really know? Because the organizations that in the working world today are changing so fast. In 6 months, 1 year, everything you probably had to relearn. And those of us who aren't in the business, like I'm in human resources, we actually need to work quite hard to understand the way the business works to do our job effectively. And that means being curious and being willing to learn too.
I really like how you put those two things together. And I'm curious, Sundar, if you have a different experience or what do you look for when you see resumes?
I want to hear about not only what you have done, like the results, but also how did you get there, right? Like, what mistakes did you uncover? Do you have a good self-reflection? Were you able to connect the outcomes back to the decisions that you made? Like, show me the pathway to how you got better. So that tells me more about how they are likely to succeed in a new setting, in a new organization, rather than just what shows up in their AI generated resume.
So we've talked about, and I want to pivot slightly because I know in our school there's always a debate about the value of degrees, certificates, stackable credentials, you name it. Yet we have a lot of students that are coming to us to prepare themselves for the next level of work, for the next stretch assignment, that type of thing. So I'd love to hear about how you're all defining what a new qualified candidate looks like.
I'll caveat by saying it really depends on your field and what you're trying to do. If you're tax, accounting, medicine, I mean,
Yeah.
you probably, need to have that deep technical expertise. But I am in the camp solidly of give me a Swiss Army knife every day of the week, right? And this really stems from a place of, something like 70+% of the careers that folks will have don't even exist yet. Right? They're going to. We're already on this evolving journey, right? Generative AI. I mean, who knew you were going to be leading this particular department, right? At a particular time. So how do you prepare for that? And to me, that answer is in competencies, capabilities, not necessarily in a deep technical expertise. And this goes back for me to a lot of will versus skill when you're dealing with employees and development, right? Or when I'm hiring someone, because if you don't have 100% of the skill yet, but I know there's going to be a ramp up time to teach this to you because I do it differently in my company, or the technology tech stack we're using is different, right? Or whatnot. Like, I'm already going to invest in teaching you, but you need to have the will, right, ready to go. You need to have these things like good communication, these team building skills. Like, if your values align, that's great, right? Because it also means you're going to be more agile to pivot when we do launch a new part of the business, right? Hasbro just launched an AI studio last week, right? We didn't necessarily have all the people internally and in place. We had some that were able to pivot over, right, to build up that new arm of our business, right? So knowing that you can anchor into some of those competencies, capabilities, that you're anchored to a shared value system, right, is really important for us. Now, are there places that a deep technical expertise is needed, especially for the leader of that group, right? To look around the corners, to scan the environment, to be on top of whatever's happening in market, to set that North Star direction? Yes, but I'm on the transferable skills train.
Okay, great. Sundar, very interested in your answer to this from a tech perspective.
AI is giving you agency to do things beyond your core expertise, to a point like, okay, the things that you didn't want to do, you didn't like to do, but things that needed to get done. Now, instead of waiting for somebody else to come and pick that up, you could just hand it over to AI and have that pick it up. So the boundaries are also blurring between your core discipline and the adjoining disciplines that you needed to be successful as an entire team or organization. So both are happening at the same time, interestingly, because like AI is both democratizing expertise to a certain extent, as well as showing the power of deep expertise to get to the next frontier of capability.
Fascinating. And what about from a medical healthcare perspective? What's your thought?
We need more conceptual competency. We need to know, where are we trying to go? How are we going to get there? What's the value of what we're doing? And we need those human skills. We need to be able to influence. Even deep specialists need to mentor. They need to make compelling cases for why investments should be made. And so I think it depends. Most of us, as we started our career, were pretty heavily grounded in technical competency. We had to be an expert in something. We still needed some collaborative skill. Like, we really still needed to learn to work with other people. And we had to have some way of communicating what we're doing. So that was maybe some of the conceptual competency. But as we get more advanced on either track, our technical competencies become less and less, and our conceptual and human interpersonal competencies become more important.
Yeah, no, I think they're all great points, and I really, that last one resonates, because you can't continue to be a technical expert as you're moving up the leadership ranks, because you're not going to have the time to really continue to be grounded in that.
And even for specialists, they're going to always need to continue to be strong technically, but unless they can show that it's for a purpose that aligns with the larger organization, until they can assess the level of organizational competency in a particular technical area and how they're helping to evolve that, even if it's just themselves, then they can get quite isolated. And that really doesn't benefit anyone.
Right. I say all the time that, some of the problems that we're trying to solve today, the big problems in the world, are systems problems.
Yeah.
And we need people who think at different levels to contribute, and across disciplines to contribute to the solutions of those systems problems. So the other thing that we talk about a lot here is the so-called, I don't know what you're going to call them, liberal arts, soft skills, T-shaped skills, 21st century skills, things like critical thinking, problem solving, good judgment, and being rooted in and with such a close relationship to a liberal arts school here at Harvard. Those are things that we value quite a lot. I'm curious what you're seeing and what you believe the role that higher ed should play in helping students develop these so they're ready for careers and ready to solve some of these next level problems. Jonathan, why don't we start with you on that?
Yeah. I think achieving the right balance of technical, conceptual, and human relations competency, and that's where we need to stay fresh. what I find is just having gone through my own journey of 3 different degrees, the biggest challenge for me was actually taking those learnings and applying them in the work. And I found that there were 2 things that were most critical. One is finding projects for me to use those skills and demonstrate what I could do. And that's actually a relational thing. That's who I know and who I've invested time in to get to know, so that they'll listen to me and want to help me out. The second thing I think, just beyond the projects, is visibility. So how can I find excuses to get in front of the senior leaders so that they get to know me? And one of the best excuses to get in front of people is when you're taking a program at Harvard. Now I've got visibility, and if it wasn't for that program, I would have never had the excuse to get in front of you. Very important, I think, for kind of creating that path for your next step.
Thank you. Sundar, what about you?
The way the tech industry looks at skills right now is, what are things that AI cannot do? We talk a lot about taste and judgment, and these are like sort of core, non-technical skills that are like front and center in the tech industry now. The famous saying from like a year ago was, the hardest programming language in the world right now is English. So it's it's less about like, do you know a particular syntax or a particular format, but do you know how do you how do you engage with AI, or how do you engage with your colleagues and decide what is important and why? What does the world need? What do your customers need? And why do we do this now versus something else? Like what you mentioned earlier, Jonathan, like how do you go in front of your investors, whether it's internal to the company or external, and argue like why this is the most important problem to solve? And by right now, I think those are like very critical liberal arts skills.
And so how do you think, Sherry, about critical thinking and problem solving and the role of higher ed, and how could we be in service to industry?
Yeah, I am a liberal arts grad myself, so I feel very strongly rooted and prepared from that background. But as great as AI is and the advancements coming, you are always going to still need the critical thinking skills to keep it in check and say, hey, is this outcome that it's giving me actually making sense? Learn how to think about how to be a little skeptical, right? To still know how to do a little bit of background research versus trust the response, right? One of the best things about liberal arts degrees is those writing skills, right?
Mhm.
And how to also write for clarity. AI needs prompts, right? To come right now today, and a lot of the ways we use it in business to get to the answer you actually want, right? That's a skill, right? Ultimately. And that's something that comes through a lot of liberal arts things. We learn how to debate, right? We learn how to question what is in the book or online.
What you said sort of brings full circle some of the things that we've been talking about, and that's the power of communication, to express your point, to share your perspective, to communicate with your teammates, and the power of decision making and really critical judgment, right? Because those are all sort of foundational to some of the things that we've been talking about today, and really important skills.
I guess one thing we didn't talk a lot about, but sort of like it's in the adjacency of many of these aspects, is accountability, right? Like, so it's ultimately the accountability still is with the human.
Yeah. Right.
And if you view it through that lens, then many of these other aspects sort of follow naturally through it. You can't say like, well, the bot asked me to do it, or the AI said that, right?
Right.
I mean, it comes back to still like human is going to be accountable for decisions, for outcomes, for actions, and that's the pace in which they're getting assistance might change, but that accountability will not change.
That's a really great point, and I'm so glad you brought it up, because through the accountability and taking accountability for something that might have gone sideways, you can demonstrate all of those things that we've been talking about, right? Is you can demonstrate that you're ready for the next level, that you've got the communication, that you learn from mistake, that you learn from failure, which is a really important piece too. So thank you for bringing that up. I love that point.
Claude doesn't get an annual performance review.
No.
We get an annual performance review.
But maybe they should, though,
Maybe
right?
they should.
So I'm curious about, we have a lot of folks here who are using education to really pivot and shift their careers into a new direction. And I'm curious, what advice you would give to some of our students and prospective students to show that their commitment to learning and education, particularly in the context of their Harvard work, it really matters as much as their past experience. What advice could you give to them, Sherry? Maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, I think the first thing I'll say is when I talk to a lot of students who are working students or going back and getting a degree or career pivoting, essentially, like there's a lot of like, oh, I may not be as good as the rest of the market, and I'm just going to ask y'all to take that thought out of your mind for a second, because most folks in business and in industry, when you talk to them, have had several careers over. Right? So it's actually an asset when students are taking that time that we know everyone's got. Time is precious, right? You've got everything else happening in your life to dedicate to going back and educating yourself and going back to school. You're investing in yourself in time and treasure, right? At the same time, you're learning how to prioritize and reprioritize all the time. Guess what we do in business? Exactly that, right? There's a stickiness to returning to continue to go back to education that a lot of companies value. I'd imagine, for all of us sitting, we're probably not that excited to make a hire we're going to keep for 9 to 12 months, right? We want someone who's going to grow with us, evolve with us. And you're coming with drive. You're driven. You already know why you're studying this, why you're coming back to school, why you want to do that. So that grit shows itself, right? So take out of your mind that maybe you're less than in any way that you go about doing this, right? And then get your narrative straight, right? Jonathan mentioned about this before. I encourage everyone to really think about, I talked to someone coaching the other day. I said, why should I hire you? Right? And your answer should come with some confidence. It should also come with some humility. And it has to be a clear thread, right? I need to understand what's driving you here to do this and what you're going to bring to the table over, any other candidate, in a market like this one today. And that's unique to you, right? That no one else can have.
One thing I'll just offer, I'm on my 4th career now.
Yep.
And for me, what I found is I initially started these transitions expecting to make 90-degree turns and I wasn't able to do it. The way I was able to do it was 15-degree turns. So that's where I find the commonality between what I've done, where I want to go, and work through that commonality by doing a little bit of research on career paths and finding how can I leverage rather than let go of what I've done. And so I would look for adjacencies and see how can you use what you've developed going forward rather than abandoning it and making a sharp turn.
Great. Thank you.
I think that's a great point. Like I think we get a lot of messaging around, growth and, like covering your weak spots. And, do you tell me about a plan for how you get better? But we don't, I think, talk a lot about leveraging your strengths.
Yeah.
And I think that's, so when you're going back into an education or reskilling, the thing you want to ask is like, okay, what is that that I'm able to build on from what I am already good at? Like, what is the extra superpowers I'm acquiring through this effort, as opposed to like, okay, I'm not good at this thing. Looks like this is what the market is asking. So let me go and do that. So that's not going to be as successful as like, okay, here is where I am. Here's where I need to be, or I want to be, or better. That's I think a better framing. So like, and how does this skilling or this education helping me bridge that gap, right? So I think when you approach it from that lens, then you have a very clear reason for why you're doing this. I think a lot of times when people don't ask that hard question, is it just about branding? Is it just about like expectations of people around you? Then the outcomes are going to be less certain. But if you frame it in terms of, okay, what is that I want to do next, and why can't I do already that now? What are the additional skills that I need to acquire? Then it also becomes clear, like, what is the best place to acquire them from? So then you have a very good rationale. Okay, here's why I'm going to the Harvard Extension School, and here's what I'm going to get out of it.
Great.
So
When you see someone earning a degree while working, what does it say to you about their grit?
I mean, I was a working student myself, right? So I've been in the shoes, experienced that same thing. It's ruthless reprioritization over and over, that you learn by doing that, right? And it's also how to make some really tough trade-offs. Whether you're going into a leadership position or you're working in a, strategic operator role as an individual contributor, those are going to be very real things that, you have multiple priorities pulling you the same way. You're going to have to make a tough call at some point, and they're already naturally baked into doing that.
Okay, thank you. Sunda.
I am very impressed with the passion that's sort of behind that extra effort, right? I didn't, when I was in school, I was only studying, but I saw my wife study and work. I saw my brother-in-law do the same. And what really shone through was like how passionate they were about like what they were studying, and that sort of helps you go that extra mile. Like it's not just about like doing same amount of work, like it is more work, but it doesn't feel like work to them because they are pursuing something that they were absolutely passionate about. So that's passion translates into success for them in that particular moment in their education, but it'll translate into success for them in other aspects of their life as well.
Great, thanks. Jonathan.
And from my perspective, and I went to business school while I was working, so 5 years in night school. What really sets you apart when you're a working student is you have the ability to apply what you learn in an organization. And that's something nobody else can do. And so that gives you an opportunity to develop stories about what you've learned, how you've applied it, the relationships you've developed, the outcomes you've achieved. And so that's, I think, just as important as the actual thing that you're learning while you're a student. That's what I listen to, the stories like that in interviews.
Great. All right. Thank you all. Really, really appreciate it. This was amazing and appreciate your time.
Thanks for
Thank
inviting
you.
us.
Thank you. So, as we've heard from Sherry, Jonathan, and Sundar, the workplace is evolving quickly, and employers are looking for the exact kind of grit and learnability that defines our students. But while the industry provides the destination, Harvard provides the map. We understand that going back to school is a big decision, and you need a community that supports you at every step. Whether you're navigating financial aid, seeking academic advising, or looking for career coaching, our team is here to ensure your journey is as smooth as possible. To show you exactly what that support looks like, I've asked some of our dedicated staff members to introduce themselves to you and share a little bit about what they do. Let's take a look at the resources available to you here on campus and online as we begin this new academic year together.
Hi, welcome to Harvard Extension School Enrollment Services. My name's Julia, come on in.
When students are just starting out their journey, they work with my team. So enrollment advisors are assigned to specific prospective students who take some action toward enrollment. And we often are able to have conversations about early goals, what they're looking to achieve, anything from a class to a full-fledged degree program.
So we work with students starting before they register, and then we stay with them at least throughout their first term. And then if they hope to go forward, we'll support them until we pass them off to the Office of Predegree Advising and Admission. So usually that's when they're submitting their application, they finish their pre-admission courses, or when they are most of the way through their certificate, we'll also pass them off to certificate advising. And if they're just hoping to do a course with us, we'll support them throughout the duration of that course and help them out if they want to do a course in another term too.
Working with prospective students is exciting because we get to hear about so many different goals, and we get to connect with students about what inspires them to learn. There's so many amazing programs and offerings here. So I think developing that like initial relationship with a student is super important.
I love working with our students because they dream big academically. If they have a goal they want to achieve in a topic they're passionate about, they go for it. They really want to do the work to learn about the topics that are important to them. I feel like a lot of times students come to me and tell me they're not our typical student based on where they are in their life, based on where they are in their career. And I think the cool thing about Harvard Extension School is that we don't have a typical student. We support non-traditional learners. So I have learners that are in their 20s. I have advisees that are in their 80s with us. So if you want to come and learn, if you're passionate about learning and education, I really do believe there's a place for you here.
So I am a student myself here, and it was really intimidating to make the decision to go back to school because of all other life priorities and responsibilities. I really want students to know that they can do it and just rip the Band-Aid off, because it's really energizing and fun to learn and be a student again. So I think I want students to know you can do it, and I encourage you to go after it if it's something that you're interested in.
Hi, I'm Allison. Welcome to the Office of Predegree Advising and Admissions. Come on in. The Office of Predegree Advising and Admissions serves students who have at the very least enrolled in their first course at Harvard Extension School. So they have just started their journey all the way through the admission courses and to the point of admission. Those are the students that we work with. And they meet with us in a variety of different ways. It could very well be an email interaction, or it could be an advising appointment, or it could be interaction in our virtual office hours and webinars about the application process. They can turn to us with their questions in a judgment-free zone, truly. I would first normalize the apprehension, really honoring the fact that it is a big decision to pursue a degree program. But then I would also offer that the real beauty of our Earn Your Way In admissions philosophy really gives students, our students, the chance to try out a course without committing to the full degree. That gives, I think, some students the courage to kind of get over that hesitation and keep moving forward. Perhaps the fear that I hear the most is, can I do this? Can I be a Harvard student? Can I gain admission to a Harvard program? And what a wonderful entry point to talking about the work that goes into the admission courses that are specific to one's degree program of choice. And also recognizing that there are so many supports in place. Your faculty really want to see you succeed. Your classmates are all there to support you too. There's just so many points of contact that are available to a student. It's through showing up that you get to experience it, and you won't know unless you try, essentially. I particularly really prize the diversity of the student body, the diversity of not just their backgrounds and origins, but also their goals and dreams that they bring in, that they talk about in admission appointments. I just feel like that really feeds the relationship that we have from advisee to advisor. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Michael. Welcome to the Office of Academic Advising. Come on in. Academic advisors work with students and try to provide guidance on as many of the logistical things or the academic requirements. We come into the picture when students really officially start their degree. And so for some students, they may have only taken a few classes. For others, maybe they're halfway through or even further into the program. So we're kind of with the students for the full journey. As soon as they become degree candidates with us, we're going to be there providing as much advice as we can.
The two main ways that we work with students are number one, in academic advising appointments. Those are typically done over Zoom, and we'll meet generally in either 15-minute or more often half an hour appointments where students will bring to us any questions that they have, any concerns, anything they're just looking for advice or clarity on. We'll work through it. If somebody has a quicker question, something that doesn't necessarily need a half an hour appointment, we also have a program where we answer questions, and those get sent to a queue that all of us as a team answer to get everybody an answer to their questions, to their issues as quickly as possible.
It really is student-led. You know, we're here as a team to support you, but you choose how often you want to work with us. If it's more convenient to just message us and you just like to correspond in writing, that's great, I get it. You know, just send us a message and I'll write back to you. Others want to brainstorm and they want to talk about their courses. They want to talk about what their capstone idea is or what their thesis is, or, you know, what are the steps to get into a PhD program. We're just a part of the Harvard community. And so if you want to have a conversation with us, drop by. Or if you just want to come and, you know, verify that everything is going according to plan, that's great too. The community here is aspirational. They are the type of students who they see a mountaintop and they ask themselves, can I get to the top of it? Underlying all of it is this feeling of, I want to challenge myself and am I capable of it? And so you get to measure yourself up against these courses and with Harvard faculty. And so you're just a part of this exchange of ideas that is very free form. And what comes out of that is very exciting.
We work with so many people who have been away from school for a while. They're coming back. They've got lots of other things on their plate. They've got jobs, they've got families. Sometimes people have military service, caretaking, lots of things in people's lives. And our programs were designed to work with people who have those obligations. We have so many ways these programs can be completed that can be tailored to students and their individual needs. And the advising team is in part here to make sure you know those options, make sure you can navigate that flexibility and make this program fit with your life.
Hi, welcome to Student Financial Services. Come on in. So Student Financial Services, we're going to be the ones that assess tuition and process your payments. So we're going to be the folks you talk to about money. We're a part of your journey from your very first course to your very last, and you may find you have questions for us throughout the term. Questions are going to change as your journey at Harvard Extension School evolves. If you stick with us for a degree, you are also going to be talking to us about your financial aid process. We want to make sure that we're here to break things down for you throughout your entire process. We have no expectations that you're an expert in financing your education, and we really honestly almost heard everything before. And if it is something that we're not able to answer ourselves, we will be able to have you speak with one of our specialists, either a financial aid officer or a military benefits specialist, to give you a better understanding of a more complex situation. We just want to be sure that you're here to have all the information that you need and that you can have the decisions needed to make your next steps. Typically, like an admitted degree candidate will be the one speaking with our financial aid officers specifically. Admitted degree candidates may talk to them about their specific package, any changes that they may need to make to their FAFSA, and then potential students may even talk to them about the process of financial aid, how their eligibility may work. In terms of our military benefits team, we do have a group of individuals that works closely with our military benefits students. We'll talk to about their VA benefits and any funding that they will need to send over to the school. They'll be able to work with them directly.
Hello, I'm Amanda Peters. Welcome to the Mignoni Center for Career Success. Our students come in with a wide range of career-related interests and goals. Some people might be really looking to maybe just enhance a certain skill set or gain new knowledge in a certain area and use that at their current job. Other people might want to make a change to another role in their same industry, and still others might want to, say, start a business or change careers entirely or go on for further education. So the very first thing that we do when we're meeting with people is find out what their goals are. The first thing when students enter, they have access to the Career and Academic Resource Center. And through there, they can watch a series of webinars on career essentials, alumni career path spotlights, or various focus foci on certain career paths. And also through the Career and Academic Resource Center, any student has the opportunity to meet with me one-on-one in once-a-month virtual drop-in hours. Once people are admitted into a Harvard Extension School degree, they have access to the Mignoni Center for Career Success additional resources. Our admitted degree candidates and degree alumni, because we do serve them forever, have access to half-hour career advising appointments with myself or my colleague, Shoshana Mavor, as well as some additional career fairs, online resources such as Firsthand, which is an opportunity to talk to alumni who have volunteered from the different Faculty of Arts and Sciences schools to provide advice, and many other resources and services. Through Crimson Careers, our admitted degree candidates can schedule half-an-hour appointments with Shoshana or I for any part of the career that they want to discuss. We also have an employer database where they might be able to see potential connections at organizations that have had some affiliation with the Mignoni Center at another point. And also, there are jobs and internship postings listed there, and they can set up a saved search to get new alerts when new things are posted. A lot of people have really been doing it on their own for years, and it's worked for them. But they also have a lot of people who see them in a certain way, including themselves sometimes, because they've always been viewed that way professionally. And we are more of an external viewpoint that can help them look at what they want to bring forward and what do you want to add to that and how do you want to move forward in a new way. And we can help them sort of bridge that with a new perspective. I love sort of the excitement about learning that everyone at the Harvard Extension School has, and I'm including the staff and the faculty, right? But mostly the students, and how engaged people are and how much they want to move their learning forward no matter what it is. And it is a community. Once people are really a part of it, they feel like a part of the Harvard Extension School, and I love that we sort of bring that forward into all the activities and all the engagement, whether it be from clubs where I see a lot of students meet each other, or whether it be in class where they might be communicating online only, or they might be speaking, but they can make wonderful connections that they tend to keep in touch with longer term.
So we spent today talking about the future of work and the incredible support systems that we have in place to help you navigate it. As we close today, it only felt right to bring you back to where it all began, the yard. These gates have stood for generations as a symbol of opportunity. Our mission at the Harvard Extension School is to ensure that those gates are open to anybody with the drive and the determination to walk through them. Whether you visit us here in Cambridge for a weekend residency during your degree program, or engage with our faculty and your peers online from around the globe, your ambition brought you here today. Our community and our campus are here to help you turn that ambition into your next great achievement. We are so excited to welcome you to the next academic year. See you in class.